All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is February 8th. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a happy Tuesday to everybody. In our weekly theme, we have decided to discuss ideas of correlation and yields, of which they are similar in how they can affect the market, but they're often independent topics for discussion. So today, instead of looking at some higher level charts, I figured we'd also take a quick look at the SPY composition. And we'll talk about a very straightforward correlation, which is the idea that the market that we often review is a market cap weighted index. And by doing this type of analysis, it's important to understand the weightings of the market, sort of what aspects of different sectors control larger movements overall, and then looking at their relative posturing for some technical and idea generation for the rest of the week. So with that, let's take a look at what we have for the S&Ps. Here I'm looking at the fundamental breakdown of the SPY ETF, which in this particular platform will show me the different sector breakdowns and their relative percentage weightings. As always, we know that the S&P is a heavily tech-focused ETF. The economics of this particular decade have been highly focused on tech-related companies. And that has sort of been a predominant shift that occurred near the end of the financial crisis, where it used to the S&P used to have a pretty hard focus on financial companies, along with some previous industries like oil and gas. However, tech has been our main focus for the majority of last year. We often look at different tech stocks, whether they be some of the market cap leaders or just some of the additional composition that provides volatility for the market. And when we look at the S&P holdings of tech, it's important to understand, depending on if you're new or experienced, at any time we look at an S&P chart, we're talking about 28.29% of information technology weighting. So no matter what the aspect of the chart looks like, we need to have in the back of our mind that about 30% of future movement is going to be driven by the information technology sector. And as we go down this list, we can see healthcare still remains second place with about 13.21%. That brings us into a total percentage of about 41.5%. Moving down, we get consumer discretionary at about 12.08. That brings us to a total of 53.58%. So from the perspective of percentages, if we're talking about the S&P, we're actually talking about half of the S&P being three specific sectors: the information technology sector, the healthcare sector, and the consumer discretionary sector. But as you notice, this is simply ordered by highest to lowest, and there are some roughly equivalent sectors as we move down. Not to say that they are not impactful, but they can sort of affect things in baskets of percentages. Things like financials at 11.5, communication services, which we'll look at a little bit more in depth with some of the volatility we've seen in these key underlyings, sitting at currently about 9.8, and then industrials, staples, and then moving into our sort of low end with the idea here that about 10% of the S&P is comprised of four particular sectors: energy, real estate, materials, and utilities. These are often not necessarily considered high impact. However, if you get outperformance, for example, in energy, that overall outperformance can provide a little bit of a wedge of support in regards to the rest of this particular index, either flat or moving lower. And that's certainly what we've seen in 2022, with energy being the only real major sector moving higher, and some amount of stabilization in the larger sectors like financials, but not necessarily seeing the outperformance that we saw last year. And that, of course, has led to this market correction and some of the deeper selling that we've seen. So whenever we have this mindset of we're looking at a composite ETF, we often want to review some of these holdings and start to understand the type of volatility and the overall positioning that they exist in. And we've done this many times before, but it's just hammering home this type of analysis and why it can be so important for understanding future movement. So as we look at information technology, which remember is about 28.29%, we understand at a glance that Apple and Microsoft are representing a significant portion of this particular ETF. And remember, this filter that I've applied is not necessarily saying Apple and Microsoft are 13% total of information technology. It's saying that they're 13% total of the S&P. So no matter where we look, information technology reigns supreme, but Apple and Microsoft as a group of market cap leaders is half of that composition. And it's one of the reasons why every time we talk about tech volatility, we really only have to look at a couple of stocks to understand the type of performance that we are anticipating moving ahead. So we have Apple here, which of course had its earnings, had a pretty significant move to the upside, and is holding above its 50 period, giving the sense that maybe some stabilization is starting to take place in what is essentially the largest market cap leader in this entire market. We have stocks like Microsoft, which earnings did provide a bit of a boost, but we're not necessarily seeing the same location and confidence in regards to its positioning after earnings. We've still lost a upper trading range. We are trading below this area. And while this particular setup is bull flag in nature in regards to low to high transition, and then a less than significant pullback, often we're going to be looking at things like retracement levels to figure out, does this still have the qualities of a potential bull flag? This is one stock that particularly might provide some impact if we can see momentum or a move higher in the overall price. Now, as we shift back into our look on the financial side, I'll take this filter off just to avoid that continuing to happen. It's noteworthy to say that, yes, we just looked at two stocks that represent about 13% of the S&P, but what else is comprised of this particular sector? Well, you start to see some names that you might be familiar with. NVIDIA stands out. Obviously, NVIDIA has been one of the bullish stocks in 2021, had a very nice upward trend leading into its current all-time high. And then just like the rest of the market, saw a significant decline on the most recent correction. So that relative volatility has had an impact for market cap perspective. And when you think about sort of the loss of market cap from high to low, even though this particular stock doesn't show up as a high percentage mover, it is one of those stocks in focus for the tech sector. And there's a lot of sentiment and play based around what NVIDIA's stock price is doing on short-term basis. Moving down, you have stocks like Visa and MasterCard sitting at approximately 1%. And as we can see, as we move down the list, these stocks become less and less impactful, essentially showcasing that while tech is our biggest overall sector, It's actually comprised of about 4 to 5 stocks that represent half of that total composition. Apple and Microsoft with about 13%. And then if I just included NVIDIA, we're already at 14%, which represents half of the information technology sector. So keep this in mind. These are not necessarily indications that there's sort of concentrated risk in the market, albeit if we did lose a stock like Apple or Microsoft on the bullish sort of trend, that would certainly have an impact. But it showcases that when looking at our sector ETFs, sometimes all we have to do is look at a few key names and understand that the relative volatility of these names and also their performance moving forward is going to be the main driver for this ETF in the first place. And this certainly is the case with tech, where we saw the steep decline from high to low, basically a full move through the channel with some upper bound breaches and now a lower bound breach, along with a back test that at this point in time has not fully recovered the channel that this particular ETF has been trading in for the past year and a half. So these are all notes in our idea of where the market may be headed moving forward. And additionally, as a lot of people will start to call out, the opportunity is there for the bullish setup, but we haven't quite seen the actual trigger, the move above, the closing of the gap, and the overall momentum that we've experienced in 2021, especially to the upside. So as we look back and as we start to once again just move through these a bit quicker, other sectors are not quite as heavily skewed. We have things like healthcare, which does have some higher weighted stocks. It has UNH, which is once again a big component of our Dow. We have the Johnson & Johnson company, Pfizer, which just reported earnings, AbbVie, and then down the list we go. But you can see that this is much more of an equal weighted type of sector. It's not perfectly equally weighted, but the movement of a couple of lower weighted underlyings can have the same effect as the movement of a stock like United Healthcare. So the difference in the composition, the lack of sort of concentrated percentage weighted risk, and the overall balancing of this particular ETF in regards to XLV is something to sort of once again have in your mindset. Because as we can see, this market is postured very similarly. Pretty much every ETF we're going to look at has a similar look of our Monday capitulation low that occurred a few weeks prior. We have our recovery bounce, and then we have a market in pause, basically the potential for a bull flag. No matter where you measure this particular chart, the retracement size is enough, as long as we hold sort of yesterday and current lows, to indicate that we could technically move higher. We just need the trigger. But as we see, this is a market that's been paused. We don't have momentum, we don't have sell-off volume, and we haven't necessarily been trading in our trading range lows. We're in that moment of anticipation and waiting for the market to give us the next signal. Consumer discretionary. This is one that we've had a lot of volatility in both before and during and shortly thereafter earnings. Likes of Amazon and Tesla, once again, just showcasing the type of concentrated market cap weighting that the S&P has. Amazon, of course, about 3.6% of the S&P total, and Tesla with currently about 2%. Keep in mind, the S&P does rebalance, I believe, on a quarterly basis. Would have to double check that. And what that does is these percentage weightings remain in place until that rebalancing occurs, at which point market cap fluctuations that occurred over, I believe, one quarter are going to take effect. So if we are to capture this market cap weighting and then review it after the SPY does its rebalancing, you will see some of these deviations. And that's going to be very important for what we're about to discuss in regards to communication services. So Amazon, Tesla, a couple of key names here that have been stocks in play. Home Depot had a very fantastic set of upward thrusts as a lot of consumers recognize the inflationary pressure of certain materials. And Home Depot is one of those names that can provide that to the consumer, basically to leverage inflation and keep costs down and sort of reflect that in the consumer purchasing power. McDonald's, Nike's, and down the list we go. But overall, this particular ETF, once again, just showcasing that if you look at Amazon, you look at Tesla, and maybe throw in a little bit of HD, you've captured about half of consumer discretionary from the SPY's perspective. And you're simply moving down a hierarchy of market cap weighting that allows you to get a sense of volatility or risk in this market without having to look too far down the entire candidate list of an ETF. So obviously with Amazon earnings, we've gotten a pretty significant bounce, sort of a bear trap prior to earnings, a nice sort of response from the market, holding in these upper ranges. And then we have stocks like Tesla, which we actually did a morning analysis on. We're talking about sort of the bull flag scenario, which is currently still in place, but it has yet to trigger. And that keeps us in a moment of equilibrium inside of a balanced trading range over the past couple of sessions. And overall, that lack of directional bias is showcased in most of these names. You take that approach and you look at a stock like HD, which not only took some of the sell-off hit coming all the way down to its 200-day moving average, but so far the bounce, which once again could have had that bull flag perspective, has indicated less of a, I would say, a bullish recovery. Obviously, this retracement size is going to be deeper. You're measuring from the actual bounce beginning. That's going to bring us down almost to 100%. If you bring it down to sort of the Monday lows, that of course will bring us closer to about a 61.8, which once again is not indicative that HD is going to retest its lows. It's indicative that the market's pullback in this particular name is not structured in the same way as other stocks. We do have the potential for balance or a larger trading range to form based around the highs and the lows. The understanding that we have tested a previous breakout point and as so far have faded from this area. Basically, previous resistance has now turned back into resistance before our breakout. And once again, before earnings, this is a very important structure in the market that at this moment we are rejecting. So keep all this in mind, because now we're showcasing some of the bearish sentiment. Not only from where we've come from, it's obvious that the market has sold, but we're looking ahead. We're trying to figure out what the next move is. And we have stocks that are positioned in a bullish type of pattern, but are coming off of a bearish posture. They're obviously recovering from a volatile trading range over the 2-week session that we had after the Monday capitulation. But we also have stocks that have failed their bull flag structure. And HD is a great example, one that actually holds some relevance in consumer discretionary. And then last, before we get into communication, are the financials. Once again, just kind of thinking about financials and energy, which have been two sectors that have had a lot of focus with the rise in some of the shorter term interest rates. We've talked about the breakout that has taken place in TNX, which is our 10-year treasury yield. We also have the bond market as a whole still postured in a very powerful downtrend. And some of the global or international news that we're starting to receive, where the ECB and the Bank of England are also talking about tightening monetary policy. How this is going to affect international markets and how much of that carryover is going to take place inside of US listed stocks. That's something that we'll need to discuss further, and some of those sort of bleed over effects that can take place whenever you have all of your monetary bodies aligned in their policies. But short term, let's talk about the financials. We have likes of Berkshire. The Class B stocks are going to be the ones showcased here just for the weighting. We have JP Morgan Chase. And then once again, down the list, most of these are going to be underneath 1%. But remember, financials represent about 11% of the S&P. So once again, just showcasing a couple of key names, maybe 5 or 6 financials, can get you about half of the financial sector as a whole. And what it does is it can narrow your focus. It can make you understand that if we start to lose multiple names to the bullish or bearish side, I say lose, I basically want to say a correlated rally. These are stocks that can affect the entire sector. And by affecting the sector, we need to be thinking about the pressure that that market cap percentage has on the S&Ps. But shifting over to Berkshire, when I look at this chart, I don't see bearishness at all. In fact, I saw a previous breakout of a massive swing high that was set back in May, where the stock traded and consolidated basically flat for months. We saw a massive rally at the beginning of the year that, of course, facilitated with some of the energy play as well. And even on the market sell-off, from a technical sense, all we did was backtest our swing high. So you look at this chart and you say, what's bearish about this? Do financials have enough power to carry this market forward? Is this an area of the market based solely on Berkshire's chart, which we know is a large percentage of financials, to actually provide the strength needed to get the market back in a bullish posture? And that sort of question can be asked of key underlyings like JP Morgan, which are similar in its market cap composition. You start to notice here that this is not in the same posture. So obviously you can ask those types of questions, but bringing in more data, analyzing where other key components lie, and asking yourself the opposite thesis here. If Berkshire is postured in a bullish way, are other stocks going to provide sort of the counter trend or the counterplay? And when looking at the financial sector as a whole, is that going to lead to indecision? So JP Morgan, of course, postured much more bearish. We saw much more selling from high to low. And then the recovery bounce here, especially when measuring from its earnings, has only placed this stock at about 38 to 45% roughly. So once again, thinking in percentages and probabilities, this particular sector postured in an indecisive way. And when you look at financials, you can see how that coincides. Let's talk about the channel in financials and talk about how we're mid-range currently. So obviously, just looking at 2 stocks, especially with our time, but channel high to low trading. Longs off the bottom, shorts off the top. We discussed this financial resistance point, and this was prior to earnings. Had you taken this trade, especially into earnings, you still would have come out with your thesis being correct. High to low type trading. And currently, we're sitting mid-range, especially on a bullish uptrending channel. We are mid-range, and this is where the anticipation and the sort of questionable posture of the market can once again be seen. Some stocks are postured correctly to the bullish side, some are postured bearish. These are bigger market cap leaders. It leads to indecision, it leads to balance, and it can lead to volatility if we have things moving in opposite directions at one time. Lots of sector rotation occurring under the hood. All right, so with our last few minutes, let's look at financial services, or sorry, communication services. This is where I wanted to focus because we know certain stocks in this sector have caused a disruption in the market cap composition of the S&P. And when it comes time to rebalancing, this is going to be something that we need to note what the new weightings look like. We have stocks like Google or Alphabet, both A and C class are comprised in the S&P. So when you think about Google, do not think 2.2%, think about 4.3%, because you want to add these two together from a company perspective, and these two stocks are going to move roughly in tandem. So Google is our biggest communication leader, but then we also have Meta or Facebook, which once again is a big market cap leader, but has experienced a massive drawdown after earnings. So yes, this particular stock has removed market cap from the S&P. We have lost that market cap in this particular time frame. Google has tried to recover some of it. Its earnings much more positive, but ran right into technical resistance and has faded back to the earnings high. Something to watch today for intraday play, especially if you are a fan of trading Facebook, as these two stocks are basically the large components of the XLC. And once again, just to reiterate that XLC or communication services is about 10%. Google represents about 4%, and Facebook or Meta about 1.5%. So two companies, 3 stock underlyings representing half of communication services and over 5% of the S&P market cap. Something to note too, a lot of very nuanced sympathy in regards to earnings anticipation, as some of these plays are seeing selling pressure from the likes of Facebook's response. Disney saw a massive sell-off, both from Netflix and also some pressure from Facebook's earnings. And then we all know what happened with Netflix's earnings. That's, of course, about 2-week-old news. So the reason I bring this up, the reason it's so important, whenever we look at these sector ETFs, do not think of them as equal partners. They all have their own weight. They often are influenced by 2 to 3 key underlyings in this market. And when you're looking for trade ideas and when you're thinking about posturing for the next move, the next big move of the market itself, you want to be thinking about pros and cons based on where these underlyings are structured, either technical, fundamentally, or even just in some sort of speculative fashion. Because the disruption of market cap and the oscillation of these names is what drives the S&P forward. And it is much more concentrated in tech for the NASDAQ, obviously the Russell having much more company composition, but there are certain key underlyings that sort of drive industries, maybe groups of stocks that sort of have similar structure and posturing. But overall, on the S&P side, it's worth knowing these names. It's worth understanding where they sit. And ultimately, how you play these names is similar to how the market performance will move. Not how you play, I'm sorry. How these stocks play is how the S&P will play moving forward. So something to note when market rebalancing does occur, the likes of Meta has lost enough market cap to be bumped down the list. We're actually seeing stocks like NVIDIA holding more market cap now than a stock like Meta. These have changed. The ordering of the top holdings has changed, and the rebalancing will take that into effect. Even Berkshire as well, sitting above Meta for the first time in years. So these are all just notes. We'll see that effect as the rebalancing occurs. And from that point, we'll be able to evaluate this once again with different percentages and a mindset of who is leading the market and who's the outperformer, who's the underperformer. Obviously, lots of outperformance in energy and financials, underperformance in potentially tech and consumer communication services and discretionaries. So with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Market. Bit of an overview today, but we'll look at it a bit further the rest of the week. And as always, trade safe and stay tuned for pre-market prep.
You are muted, buddy, I believe.
How about now?
There you go.
All right, perfect. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Open Market
Hey,
Prep.
good morning.
I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope that you guys are doing well. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. Extremely tired. That's a theme when you have kids, especially when they have a cold. It's just I'm always tired. It's like me and my wife, we don't ask each other if we're tired. That's not even a question that goes around. You just assume we are exhausted. Nevertheless, guys, let's get to it this morning. We had an incredible day yesterday as far as movement, but I'll tell you, man, it was for me, it was not an easy day. Let's go through some of the stuff we had here. Starting with Piton here this morning, which by the way, is very active today. It's a lot going on here on Piton. They got earnings after hours today. They had a lot of announcements with their CEOs, just a whole bunch of stuff. We'll get into that as we go through the show here. But yesterday, it's just very tough trading here. Had the volume, had the potential to get going. It didn't. Turned out to be an incredible short. But this one was not great to me yesterday. So you can see here, nice drop after the fact there, and a little bit of push towards the top yesterday. Looking at it now, yes, you did have some opportunities there, but at the market open at the time I was watching, this was not great. Here's Save. I wasn't paying too much attention. I was trading Piton at this time, but later in the day turned out to be a pretty decent trade here. Looks like. Again, didn't watch the price action too closely, but it turned out to be really nice there on Save. And we know they had a catalyst. They had good movement. They had great price action. And you can see that there. Here's Baba, guys. Extreme chop on Baba yesterday. This was another one that wasn't great to me neither. Just a lot of chop in here, guys. Every candle overlapping the previous candle. Just not a great start to the market on Baba here. PHUN, I didn't pay no attention to this one really. Turned out great later parts of the day. A nice little breakout here above some levels that we had. We had this 305, we had this 315, and look at this 313 here. How nice that breakout is. Comes back to retest this one more time with volume this time, and just look at this beautiful breakout. So if you had this on your radar, that could have been a nice break of high of the day there after trying a couple of times earlier in the day. Apple extreme again, the morning open, guys, that first hour, Norm, I don't know about you, but it was tough. It's just things were not getting the continuation. It was just very, very choppy.
Yeah, I had a tough day yesterday.
It was not easy.
Especially
It was
in
not
the
easy
morning.
day. Yep. Nvidia, guys, let's see what's it loads here. Same thing here, choppiness. They get better later in the day. I didn't really watch the price action on this one. It was focused on Apple and Piton and Baba, and those were again just not easy to trade yesterday. Let's get to what we have on our list today, guys. Gappers list so far. A couple of things in the green, a couple of in the red. Some of the names we've been watching. Snap. Piton was on here. Where's Piton? Piton, did it go green already?
No,
It was on here.
but it's down, but it's only down 1.4%. So
Okay.
it's definitely in play.
Yep.
It's just not meeting the criteria for the scanner at the moment.
Gotcha.
It was earlier.
Definitely in play for sure. Let's take a look at the overall SPY, guys. What's going on here? I mean, it has been again yesterday. It looks like you and I had a rough day, Norm. But nevertheless, it's been an incredible trading couple of weeks, right? So what's the latest?
Yeah, we just had international trade numbers come out. It doesn't really do anything. Didn't do anything to the markets. 11 o'clock, real household debt year over year will be out. So nothing too extraordinary. The big number is Thursday with the CPI data. We'll see. There's a lot of individual things in play, kind of coming to the end of earnings season. A huge percentage of the bigger companies have reported. So let's see how we do.
Yep, absolutely. Looking forward to that, guys. All right, let's get to it. Let's see what we have here on our list. Let's find our watch list for this morning. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the stuff we had yesterday. So Control A here, Control X gets the job done there. And let's go ahead and look at our gap up list today. CHGG, we've seen this plenty of times on our list before. They're gapping a nice 8% this morning. Not great volume.
No.
I don't think they trade very well from what I can remember, right?
Not, They have their rare day where they trade all right. They had earnings last night. This was in part a COVID play, online textbooks and stuff like that. So that you can see their big gap down a few months ago. So yeah, they're
kids are back to school. So yeah, this thing will taking a huge drop here, and we'll see. Getting a little bit of a pop here. I'm not sure what that's going to mean for this stock. Again, I probably won't be watching it. We'll see. It needs more volume, right? If it gets more volume, I like the 8% up this morning. We need more volume on this to make it interesting. Here's HOG, HOG. This morning, they are up 7%, 128,000. Nice pop, but not doing a whole lot at the moment. This is Harley Davidson, by the way. And, big name, but they don't trade clean. They barely get volume on their daily.
Typical NYSE.
Yeah.
And earnings this morning. They just popped onto the gappers list. Maybe they do something today, but usually it's not. I mean, with earnings, it could be. I've seen a few times. It's usually when it has earnings that it'll trade all right. But at the moment, spotty volume,
Mm-hmm.
not great.
We'll give this some. I mean, you can give this some time. Put it on your secondary list if you have space. I'm just gonna skip on it for now, guys. ALLT this morning. This is not looking good at all. Up 5.3. It's got 277 volume here. Scatter a little bit. Daily looks horrible as well. I'm just, again just not liking this at all. What's the float on this? 33 million. Yeah. So doesn't look fun right now. Maybe gets better, but at the moment we'll have to wait for that to do an entire 180 from where it is right now. CFVI at the moment they are up 3.5, 508,000. Pre-market activity looks decent, not bad, especially after here after 6:30. You're getting some volume, getting some movement. Had a decent day, yeah, very nice pop yesterday, 1350 to 1850.
This is the Rumble SPAC.
Mhm.
And yesterday made news. CEO of Rumble offering $100 million to Joe Rogan to come over, censorship free. So if nothing else, I guess it's a good PR stunt.
Yeah, agree, guys. Treat this. I'm not sure what the float is on this, but I would be very careful. I would treat this like a low float, guys. Very, very risky stock. Volume looks good, and it had a nice run yesterday. Maybe could do something today. We're gonna add it here on our risky pile. We haven't had any type of risky or low flow stock in some time, by the way. Now that I think about it, we've been having fun with all the mid and large flow stocks at the last couple of weeks at least. Let's look at NVAX this morning. They are down 8.4. I know some of you guys like this one and we'll be trading it today. I'll add it to my secondary list. We'll take a look at it. Does not look bad this morning. Typically, this stock looks horrible for the most part, but not bad. Not bad for them. CVE, this is down at 7%. Stock looks like energy company. 129,000. If you guys were listening, energy's taking a bit of a hit this morning. Jerry was mentioning. So CVE down a bit here. We'll have to see where this goes. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of
It's
this.
just not.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I'm not a big
It's
fan
Canadian.
of it.
A lot of times Canadian tickers don't trade great.
Yeah. Here is GM down 4.5 this morning, 368,000. They don't trade well, but maybe today they can get going here, get a nice drop. I'm gonna put them as possible. I hope to find something better than GM to trade. PFE this morning taking a drop here, 4.5. Great volume, guys, 1.8 million. Normally I don't like this one, but today might actually be all right. What's going on with PFE and VAX? They're both down. What's going on in that area? Do you know, Norm? Does
PFE
anybody
had
know?
earnings this morning.
Oh, okay. Okay. So is NVAX like a sympathy play here, or what's going on?
NVAX, yes, I think primarily.
Might be, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
could be good today, guys. Could be
I don't
really
see
good on these
anything
two.
individual that's very interesting on NVAX. I think it's
Yeah.
probably sympathy play. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, PFE definitely's got it going on. We'll take a look at that one. Great volume right now, down 4.5. Normally, usually you and I Norm don't have this one, but maybe today we'll get something out of it. BKKT, this is always in our gap
Bucket.
list. This is like a aloe. Where's aloe? This is like a aloe. It's just horrible. Or chow,
Yeah.
which doesn't even exist. But yeah, this is just not great, guys. So I'm just gonna keep this bucket off my list. Not gonna waste time on that. PFE is good. GM has got a good potential today. Snap this morning. Man, look at Snaps daily. Huge gap down here. Then we have the pop up.
They've
I
got
mean, yeah.
they've announced a private offering, so dilutive to shareholders. It's not
Mm,
huge.
mhm.
It's not a huge amount, but nevertheless, not a good thing.
Gotcha. Um, guys, so let's see. Let's put it on here. Let's see what Snap does this morning.
Pull up Piton, dude. It just started running
Uh,
about 60
I
seconds
know,
ago.
and I'm laughing because I'm in a position right now which I'm gonna close some of that out at the moment. So just that's why you look. That's why you see me a little distracted. I usually don't do this, but I am gonna take half off right here, guys. Just one sec.
I was in a
Um,
little bit of that as well.
yeah.
I'm
This
out
is
now.
I didn't expect that type of run. So let's just set some
I
limit.
hope it was long.
Oh yeah, it definitely was long. I wouldn't be
Okay.
laughing as much. I wouldn't be as happy. All right. So we're good there.
Oh.
Piton, guys. Piton this morning. Yeah, look at that rip there, looking very, very good. It's a lot of action on Piton, guys. It's a lot of news. Our new
It's
CEO
all
coming
over the
on board.
place, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just crazy what's going
yeah,
on with this
yeah.
ticker. It's,
Earnings tonight.
obviously they've got their issues with the way things have been handled. They've got some activist investors involved that put out a note this morning, pushing to they're going to inspect their books and, see what's the CEO's been up to, calling for firing the CEO after the CEO had already resigned.
It's messy, man. It's messy. They're cutting jobs too, like 2,000 jobs. I mean, they're doing what you want a company to do as an investor to try to stay above water, right? I mean,
and there's different sides of this. So you might say, and it's kind of confusing. My guess is news is dropping that I haven't heard yet with this thing popping like this.
Let's look at Benzinga. Yeah, while you talk
or
about
that's
that.
a squeeze. I mean, that's a squeeze is what's going on. You had shorts in here from earlier, but 3 days ago, 3 market days ago, we're talking about rumors of buyouts from Amazon and Apple and Nike and stuff, maybe a bidding war, which popped the stock up if you look on the daily. And then
sold off great yesterday too.
Popped it and then it sold off. And now with these changes, it's more like they're as opposed to being a fire sale and somebody come in like one of those guys to buy it cheap, that they're redoing stuff in the company, which is, I think, a lot of the reason that there's probably rumors of that out that caused it the drop on it yesterday. So hard to make heads or tails.
Smart. Yeah, definitely in play, guys. Just be careful. This thing can move a ton. I mean, right? Just before we started talking, it has moved $1.50, right? So you do not need to take a whole boatload of shares on this to make great money. You could take a little bit there and just make your money on the move, not on the size of your shares. Watch your risk accordingly on this thing, and don't bag hold on this one. This will make you pay.
Yeah,
big time. It will make you pay.
Be nimble.
Exactly. There you go. Futu this morning down 2.9. It's just, again, I just don't like this stock at all, guys. I'm not going to add it to my list. The few times I kept it on, maybe I was watching them on the wrong day.
Just to say F you to you.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't do good. PBR has a nice drop here, down 2.7, 438. I like this daily for a possible drop. They're not the best type trading stock. I hope we find better, but this setup here, not looking all that bad right now. So maybe a strong possible. Let's see if volume continues to pour here. But I like this setup for a possible continuation. If we can lose this level on the daily, I would love to see that on PBR this morning. All right, guys, that's what we have there. Norm, on your end, what do you like so far?
I mean, I don't really need to go much further than Piton, but I will throw out off Facebook. Obviously, it's been making moves the last few days. It's still in play. So,
yeah, Facebook here, and actually, I did not expect this drop they got yesterday. Right, I thought they were going to consolidate a little bit more before going anywhere. But it's overall negative stuff for these guys. It's just nothing good is happening at the moment for them. So Meta, Facebook, definitely in play, I think. They got great volume, 1.2, down 1.8, and they actually have a very decent pre-market activity this morning. We'd love to see what this does today. All right, let's take it over to the chat room, guys. See what you guys have this morning. We'll start here with Alfredo. You're giving us a few there. I'm just going to take, actually, we have all, and besides NVIDIA, we have Piton and Facebook, so we'll start with.
So heads up, the Peloton conference call is going on as we speak. That is what's causing this to move around.
Yep.
So just be very, very careful on that if anybody's trading it, because they could say one thing that causes it one way or the other to move against you. So like we're saying, just be very nimble, especially not listening to the call, not knowing what's being said. It can move faster than you can react. They'll get to the last part of the call where they'll have a Q&A section. Analysts might ask a tough question that doesn't get the right answer, and
that wasn't scripted.
It can drop it, or exactly. I hate trading while something's actually actively having a conference call going on.
Yep, I agree 100%. NVIDIA, guys, NVIDIA looks good. I like their pre-market activity. It's just been chopping sideways a little bit here, like many of the tech stocks have been doing lately after the huge drop in pop that we've been getting. They're kind of just taking a little bit of a break, right? NVIDIA is good.
They've got a big catalyst. So they were going to be acquiring a chip company named ARM, and they are terminating that deal. It's going to cost them a little over $1 billion in termination fees, but they
Oh,
found they're
wow.
not going to be able to do it. I mean, $1 billion for Nvidia isn't that bad. It's a
Mm-hmm. How about
$609
ARM?
billion market cap. Nvidia is the one to trade there, and it's the one that'll move on the news. So it has a catalyst. It
Right,
has a
right. So,
catalyst.
so they're down 1.3 right now, 437. Definitely worth watching this one. See how that is going to play out for them. Apple. Let's take a look at Apple here this morning. Apple's moving decent as well. Not as much volume. Maybe a good possible. I always like having Apple on the list. It's kind of like the tech type indicator of how things are doing there. Obviously you can watch the cues as well, but Apple, it's got a nice feel for how things are going. Gustavo, you're giving us ARK. ARKK. What's
That's
happening
an
here?
ETF. That's a Kathy Woods
Oh yeah, yeah,
Kathy Wood
yeah.
ETF. We don't really.
I don't really
I
trade
mean,
this.
go ahead
Yeah,
and you can dissect it if you want to, but it's generally just a heads up. It's not something we go through on the show, even though we might sometimes trade ETFs.
yeah, yeah. So not a big fan of this one. We're good there. PBR we have on the list. Facebook, Meta, we're good. Lucid. Let's take a look at what's happening with some of the EVs. I haven't really been watching the EVs like that lately. Probably the reason is there's not much going on. Looks like on the daily from a very high level view here. Neo, also pretty flat. So yeah, I don't think the EVs are in play. How about Tesla? Tesla tends to even Tesla guys kind of been a little bit quiet, right? So at least I haven't seen anything great. So I probably won't have those on the list yet. Lucid obviously been trading a little bit better than most of the EVs. So if you have room in your possibles list, you can watch that one. Let's take a look at West Fargo. Look, some of the banking stocks here making a move higher. They're up 1% with some decent volume here, 2.2 million. How about is this an overall banking move, or do we have? Let me see. Bank of America is also up 1.3. All right, so all banks slightly up this morning. JP Morgan. Yeah, you know what? I'll watch West Fargo because their daily looks so clean here, and we're getting into some recent highs. So maybe that does something today. It's not really in play right now. But we'll see if volume comes in and we get something out of this, right? But again, right now not looking all that great at the moment. Okay, their daily does look good though. I do like their daily quite a bit. Right. Ford and Microsoft. We'll take a look at those. Ford for this morning. No, 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 I don't think. I think the fun might be over on this thing, guys. I think we had our fun. We had our moment here. I think we just might be going to some back to some regular boring trading on this. I don't know. Microsoft. What do we have here? Pretty quiet right now. I don't see anything going on. I don't see anything in play. We have Nvidia, which looks a little bit better, and Apple as our tech companies for today on our list. And heading down, heading down. Baba, we'll take a look at that. Spotify, then we'll see what YouTube has for us. Baba, this morning they are, man, it was so choppy yesterday. It definitely was a rough time for Baba. This morning they're up 1.1, 240. I don't see I don't see some of the stuff that have made this a great trade for me in the past in the pre-market right now. That probably that's the best way to put it, right? I like when this thing is gapping a little bit more with a lot more volume, and I'm not seeing that this morning. That can change, but just because of that, I'm not going to put it on my list right now, right? But that can change pretty quickly with Baba, so we'll have to wait. I'm just not seeing what I like on this. Let's look at Spotify, and then we'll take it over to YouTube. Spotify, no, and oh yeah, this isn't trade well anyway. Even when they have good volume, they can be a very very difficult stock to trade. Very spotty. Please watch it. By the way, who threw this out? This is a no for today. Roof, roofless Rico. Yeah, this stock is roofless. I'll tell you that. This stock is not looking all that great today, man. Unless you have something in mind that you like, but I'm not seeing it as of right now. All right, let's take a look here over on YouTube. Let's start with Job Moses. We are looking at CCL. We'll start with you here. CCL getting a slight pop right now, up 2%. Needs more time. It had a good day yesterday, though, looks like. I wasn't watching this one. Oh, man, CCL was clean. And I don't, maybe somebody called it out in the chat room and I missed it, but CCL had a nice little move here. It looks like to be some decent volume, so that's nice. Maybe a continuation today. We'll have to see. You got a nice candle coming in now. Some volume started to pour in here. Any news? CCL. We'll add it to no, we'll add it to our list here. CCL. We'll come back to that one. NCLH is moving too. NCLH. All right, so yeah, looks like something's happening with the travel sector there. Let's look at American Airlines. Not really, but both of them moving well. We'll watch CCL today. Cody,
No.
Cody, no, no. Cody's no good. Let's go down here. Spotify can be very spotty. You know what?
Cody, I think it's Cody had volume, but I think it was primarily block trades because it was
Block
really
trade.
spotty on the chart.
Yeah, yeah. All right, what else we have here? CCL is good. S4 weekly, nice. All right, cool. Guys, that is our list so far. Not bad. I mean, we don't have a lot on our main list. We'll add more as we move forward here. We'll move some stuff from our secondary list up here. But right now, PFE looks good. Piton, really, really good. Facebook, moving nicely, actually. And NVIDIA in play. I could stick with these four today. We don't need to add too many. These look very
Pretty
good this
much.
morning. All right, guys, let's go over to our community events and announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list.
Yep. All right. So tonight you've got Mike. Sorry, that's the tech webinar that was last night. Should be posted soon. Then next week you've got Kyle with his hotkeys, advanced hotkeys part 2. And then what is it? Tonight, 5 p.m. You've got Eamon talking about ADC pattern trading. Next week, Thor talking about tape reading. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern. Note the special time for Eamon's webinar, 5 p.m. instead of the normal 8 due to his time zone. All right. Kreda tomorrow night, 5 p.m., her special time because of her time zone as well. Talking about Middle Edge Series Part 2, going deep to level up. And then next week, Mike will be talking about focusing on the process instead of the outcome. Very, very important. That is at the normal 8 p.m. time on Wednesday. Thursdays, you've got mentoring, 11 a.m. with Andrew, 4:30 p.m. with Ed, and 8 p.m. with Thor, all in the mentorship in the webinar room. Don't forget about stocktradingsimulator.com, where you can go to use our free web-based replay simulator. It's free. You don't have to sign up for anything, but if you'd like to sign up for homework assignments, you can do so at the bottom right. We don't spam or sell that list. You'll just get a couple of emailed homework assignments per week. And if you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll get you a discount off the annual elite membership and access to all the webinars and mentoring session I was just discussing. Also, oh, did I just completely mess that up?
You started from the bottom up. It's all right, man.
Okay. Sorry. You can use the promo code lovers50 to get 50% off the annual elite membership. And then if you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to try out the room, you can go to bearbulltraders.com, scroll down, you'll see that test drive now button. Use the promo code premarket24 to get a discount off that. It cancels after 1 week. Not a recurring payment.
All right, thank you, Norm. Guys, let's get to our list this morning. We have PFE on deck, looking very good, guys. Great volume right now. We'll see how this is going to trade at the market open. Definitely in play today. Usually does not trade very well, but today they're seeing some really good volume. Let's see if we can get an opportunity here. So I have that one on my list. Piton definitely looking great. Beautiful pre-market activity, guys. A couple of really nice breakouts here. Again, just a whole lot of news, as Norm mentioned, and stuff going on and happening, and rumors and this and that and plans. Plus, they have earnings after hours today, as well after market close. So, gonna be interesting after hours to see this one also react. But definitely in play. Usually, we would not have a stock that's gonna report tonight on my list, because I think after the earnings is when things get going. But there's so much going on with this that it started a couple of days ago. You see the daily candles here giving you a lot of action. Here is Facebook.
No, brother.
Also,
Peloton
yeah.
earnings are this morning.
Oh, they were this morning. Oh, so
Yes.
that's what the okay. Sorry, I
Yep.
read that wrong then. I must have been reading an older article or something. I don't know. But all right, cool. So yeah, so that's yeah, definitely in play, looking very good. Facebook right now, guys, also looking nice. Great pre-market activity, guys. Look at the daily on this thing. I did not expect we were gonna get another drop here like we did yesterday. But this is definitely very interesting here after such a gap down that we had a few days ago. This is definitely in play. And then I have NVIDIA here today. as well. It's a slight catalyst on this thing. We'll see how that's going to play out. Either way, Nvidia has been great to trade regardless. So definitely gonna want to have this one on deck here. It's a couple of secondary. I only have four on my main list. Couple of secondary here. CCL's got a pop here that dropped on some nice volume, 203,000. Hasn't done much right here. Let's see if that's gonna do anything, but that could be a good possible. I have Apple on the list as well. Secondary PBR. PBR could be our sleeper for today. This could be the one that does not normally do great, and today maybe it's just something in here for us today. I like this drop. I like the bounce. I love the daily level we're sitting on right here. Great area of support. Yeah, this could be good today for us. CCL this morning we looked at already. NVAX. I got PFE on my list. I don't think NVAX is really the one to watch today. GM, no, I like the drop here, but we'll keep it as a possible. Snap could be another one that we can move up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Snap will be our number 6, and I think we're set to do levels here. So let's move this one up. We'll put Snap right up here. 1.5 million. The volume, that's the type of volume we like to see on Snap. Yeah, that looks good there. All right, let's start with levels, guys. PFE, low of the pre-market, very early on. Nice drop there. 50.13. Towards the bottom, we had 49.84. What else we have here? Let's go to the left. Right here, where the price is right now, we're sitting at a level of support and resistance, right? So if you look in here, you had resistance here for a couple of days, 4 or 5 days showing resistance. You had that same level now becomes support right in this area before we had a beautiful breakout. And then a couple of more touches on this thing, right? So definitely 51.17, right? 51, what is it that we have it on? 50, yeah, 51.17, 51.23. That is a good level to have it there. So that'll be nice to keep it on there. This 53.91. I want this over at the high of the pre-market, which is 54.61 for our high of the pre-market. Above, in between this, above the price action, you got tons of levels here, guys. Highs and lows, previous day close. You got a bunch of stuff happening there. Let's focus more on the bottom, right? The top you pretty much covered. But if we were to lose this 50.13, you have this 49. No, actually, this 49 shouldn't be here. Let's delete this. I don't want that there. There we go. 50.13 is really what you want to have, the low of the pre-market there at that time. If we were to lose that, the next great level on the daily is very, very clear. You see right here, resistance, pops up, breaks out of that resistance, now becomes support. And then you got that nice ABCD pattern move on the daily. So 48.87 will be the next level towards the bottom here. So we'll see what happens here. A little bit of some sideways action at the moment, but we are getting some great volume. It will be great to see this at the bell, which are we going to head here. Piton looking to continue higher here, hopefully. High of the pre-market right now is going to be 30.65. So we're sitting right here, 30.65. Towards the bottom, guys, you have plenty highs and lows from the last two trading days. Some really interesting action on Piton yesterday. Nice gap up, sell off, and now we're looking to see how this plays after earnings. Low of the pre-market, 25.57. So I'm going to slam that there. And I think you're pretty much set just in case this thing really takes off here. Turns on the Jets. Let's go ahead and put a level at 34.60. That's a nice area there. Good support, good resistance across the board in this span of about 2-3 weeks there. So that's good, 34.60. And I don't think you need to add anything else at the moment. Trying to stay above the previous day close right now. Let's see how that does. Amazing volume, guys. 9.3, up 1.5. Yeah, up 1.5 this morning. All right, here is Facebook. Here's Meta. They are down slightly again here, 1.3. A nice bounce of 219. So showing a little bit of strength here this morning. So that is nice. Good pre-market action, guys. If we talk about good pre-market action, bad pre-market action, the easiest way to put it is a good pre-market action looks like the stock, like the market is open, right? If I were to, cut this here, just show you this and not give you times, you say, yeah, the market could be open already, right? This is what this looks like. You're getting good movement on this stock, right? So that is looking very nice there. Towards the bottom, below 219, we probably have to go back a little bit since the huge drop we had just a few days ago. Below this, man, we're going back to 2020. So 2020 in here, no, nice big drop there, 207. Then we have another level here around 213. Great area of resistance that cannot become support. So you're good there. And I think you're set. I think that's all you need. I don't think you need to go crazy and get more levels towards the bottom. Unless you start getting close to those levels, then you can go back and find some levels down there. High of the pre-market is all the way up to 223. 38. So we'll mark that there. Let's see if this thing wants to get there. Right now, showing a lot of strength this morning. Here's Nvidia, guys, looking good this right now. It's really stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. In between this range, I don't think you need to add any more levels. I think you're pretty much set there. If we look at towards the top here, we're going to put a level at 258. That's decent there. And towards the bottom here, we're going to put a level at 230. Obviously, this is a great level of support. You can mark this here. I don't think we'll get there today the way we're trading right now. But 218 area, you have a lot of support happening here as well. So I think you're all set. Let's see what it does. I would love for it to break out of this range here and kind of give us some good trading. We'll see how it does at the market open. Great volume so far. Great pre-market action for Nvidia this morning. PBRs, our sleeper for today, doesn't look great, but I want to keep a close eye on it. Maybe we can get something out of this one. 1308 is the low of the pre-market. Towards the top, we do have, I'm sorry, towards the bottom. On this daily, maybe right over here, 1263. You have a level there. You have some action of resistance here at 1290, might be 13 to be exact, right? But you got some action there as well. You want to have those two levels on your list, and then towards the top again, you're very congested up here. Do not need to add anything else. Highs and lows, previous day close. I mean, you're all set when it comes towards the top here. So that's PBR. We'll see where that goes. I like Snap today. I like its volume this morning in the pre-market. Already 1.6 million. We're down 3.9 here this morning. And let's see, low of the pre-market is 35.89. Below this, you have the lows from the 2 days ago. Above that, you have the highs and lows from the last two trading days. I mean, you're pretty much set. In the pre-market though, this 35.60, I'm going to mark this down. Excuse me, 36.50. I'm going to mark this down because we tested that a couple of times. You see, every time we get here, we're having a little bit of resistance. We're testing that right now. Let's see if we can get going. But I think that level looking pretty interesting here for in the pre-market. So we'll definitely mark that down. If you look on the daily, you got a couple of days showing support and resistance on that. Not a major level like a like the low of 2 days ago, right? That there we can see clearly a level that has shown itself to be an important level for Snap in the past. But I think it's worth adding on just because of this pre-market activity you're getting around this level, every time we get here. So that should be fun to watch this morning. So yeah, Snap very active today, looking very good. Piton. No, I think Piton earnings just happened, I believe, pre-market, right? I thought it was after the close, but it's pre-market as I'm seeing here as well. In trade ideas, you can see here pre-market February 8th, right? I don't know where I read after hours. I might have misread something. All right, guys, we are all set. Our watch list today: PFE, Piton, Facebook, Nvidia, PBR, and Snap. Again, the ones I really like is PFE, Piton, and Facebook are really good. The other ones, they're okay, but you don't need a whole lot. You don't need a crazy watch list this morning. All right, let's take a look at our moderators lineup. Guys, as I am doing this over on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up. We're sitting at 137 likes. We'd love to get to 250, 300. We haven't hit 300 in a while. If you can help us do that, we'll really appreciate it. Start off the week right here on this Tuesday morning. Looking at our moderators lineup today, we are seeing IPOs, two IPOs and one IPO and one SPAC coming out today. Peter's list, AMD, Piton, CCL, secondary list, Apple, Snap, and PFE. Dima is looking at Piton, Facebook, Snap, and Apple. Tiffany's looking at Piton, Facebook, PFE, and Nvidia. Megan, Piton, PayPal, and Spotify. Mike's looking at BA, JP Morgan, and some of the banking stocks this morning. Yeah, I like their daily too, especially West Fargo has a nice daily as well. Susan, you're looking at Piton and Facebook today. Secondary list Baba, Lucid, AMD, and Tesla. And Jared is looking at Facebook, Piton, and Nvidia this morning. So, okay, pretty good stuff there, guys. I think we have a good, hopefully a nice day. We got some really good stuff on our list this morning. Piton popping up some more here. So this thing is, this thing is cranking, guys. And the move on this, it's not reflected just on their percentage up 3.1. I mean, these guys were down at 25, right? So look at the move you're getting here. This is pretty decent pop here on Piton. 197 likes. Excellent. Thank you, guys. We got a little bit of time. We're done slightly earlier than usual today. So we do have some time to answer any questions. Maybe look at some other tickers that might not be on our list. Piton CEO stepping down. Yeah, the Barge guy, they got a lot going on, man. Just besides that, they're looking to prepare the company for sale. You heard the rumors of Amazon, Nike getting involved. It's a whole lot going on with this company, right? But I think they made it clear they want to sell, right? So they're preparing for that. Looks like
I'm gonna
they're.
disagree with you on that one.
Oh, you are.
Um,
Yes, please.
I think all these moves that are being made are kind of fighting that.
Is that
So
what
we'll
it is?
see. I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, maybe they're probably probably being asked about it on the conference call, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, because I read something they were pushing for. So I don't know if the investors were or the board members. Somebody was pushing for them to to make changes, obviously, right? Which they are
Yeah.
making, which is good. So when a company's struggling, you want to see changes happening, right? If you don't do anything, then the outcome is going to be what it is. But they're trying, they're trying. So hopefully things work out for them. Um, J.P. Morgan, I have West Fargo on my list. J.P. Morgan also is getting a slight pop this morning, up 1%. Some actually good volume of JP Morgan, 1.7 million. But I'm not seeing, I don't know why this is happening lately. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that 1.7 here. Um, so I don't know why that's happening. Block trade at previous day close. Well, I see
Some
that.
somebody's asking why CFVI is not on the watch list, but it is. Look at the bottom of the watch list.
Oh yeah, it's on here. It's on here. I I don't see myself trading this. You guys got to remember too, as I'm doing this list, I'm also thinking about what I'm going to trade as well. So I have it on here because it is in play. Had a good day yesterday, but for me, for the way I trade, I don't see this as being one of these stocks I'm going to be watching closely, right? But it's got volume 610. It's up slightly. Was up a little bit higher. Gave it all back this morning. They did well yesterday, 64 million. If we look at their intraday action yesterday, uh, looked okay. Looks okay. A couple of nice pops in here if you're watching it closely. But again, that's just for me, for the way I trade. This probably is not going to be one that I'm going to be focusing on, right? When I got PFE up here, Peton especially, Facebook and some other ones. Facebook looking nice too here, getting a little bit of a pop this morning. Dave from Connecticut, block trade at previous day close. And this is we're talking about what JP Morgan, right? So is what's happening is if you get a block trade here, previous day close, is that being like here's 1 point something, almost 2 million. Is that being reported today? I don't know about that.
No, no. What?
Yeah.
What? Huh?
So
What?
like
Oh, block trade.
yeah.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. I don't see the volume on there though.
I don't see it. Yeah. So it's just weird, and we've been seeing that a
Had a
lot
lot of those
lately. Yeah.
recently.
Maybe we gotta get someone knows has a good explanation why. We would love to hear it. Okay, cool guys. I think we're pretty much all set. We got a decent watch list this morning. Let's take a look at the SPY and the Q and see what's happening there. SPY's was down quite a bit here. We're trying to recover now and get into that previous day close. The Qs are pretty much doing the same thing, trying to get a little bit of a bounce here. But again, we had some pretty good action on both of these, and we're just kind of going sideways a little bit now, taking a little bit of a break from the madness that we have been experiencing the last couple of weeks, which has been great for us, by the way. Has been really good to us. Tim, SQ daily. SQ, yeah, I like this daily. This daily is nice. I don't like their pre-market action.
It's
On
pretty
here.
normal for them.
Yeah, but this daily looks nice, right? Possible drop if they can break down from that, but it looks pretty quiet right now. And again, here's another one, 1.1 million, but I'm just not seeing that. The stock Babe or Baba? Did you mean Baba? I don't think there's a stock Babe. Is there a ticker Babe? No, there's not. There's not a ticker Babe.
Maybe they're
But
hitting on you.
yeah, right. Here's Baba. Yeah, it was so choppy yesterday. I don't have it on my list today. I'm gonna keep them off. Hog, we looked at Hog, guys. Again, this is just one of these stocks that doesn't trade very well. It can be very choppy. They had earnings, you said, Norm, today?
I believe so.
Yeah, pre-market earnings came out this morning. That's where you're getting the pop. But again, even with that, trust me, you'll find something better to trade than this morning. So I won't have them on my list. All right, guys, coming up on 2:13. I'm sorry, 9:13. 9:13. We are all set. Thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. I don't think you meant to paste that there. But
yeah, AK shit. Please don't spam
yeah,
the chat.
don't do that. Guys, over on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. 245 likes. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate the support. It does mean a lot to Norman and I as we're doing this show live every morning. Take care, guys. Trade safe. We will see you again tomorrow. Remember, tonight is a strategy success webinar. So we will be on at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Do not miss that. We'd love to see you guys there. So take care, trade safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 a.m. starting with Jared engineering the markets. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Trade safe.